I want Recording in progress, good old Zoom. I want to be very respectful of everybody's time. And we have a lot of good info to cover today in our training all around autumn hormone alignment and 5 surprising things that happen to your hormones in the fall, winter, and how we can align them in the winter months. So winter just doesn't feel like such a struggle, right? Because obviously, as we know, this is a busy time of year. We're getting into the holiday season. It's go, go, go. It's blinders on, hamster wheel. And then a lot of us give ourselves comfort in the excuse of, I'll worry about this in January. I'll focus on myself in January. Good old New Year's resolutions are still around for a reason. And if you've been around my community enough, you've learned that that on and off cycle that we have around our health and wellness, waistline, energy, brain fog, whatever your goals may be, is actually a huge detriment to our physiology and our metabolism. That start, stop, start, stop. And then every time that you need to restart, it just gets harder and harder and harder. So what can we do just to go with the seasons of life? Because we don't live in a bubble where everything's perfect all the time. That's not realistic. But we can go within the seasons of life and we can build some foundational habits and principles to really focus on how we feel and our vitality. Okay. It's not just about inches lost around the waistline. I know that's a goal for many, but that correlates with how you're feeling about yourself, your energy levels, your clarity, zest for life, everything. Makes sense? Give me a hands up. For those that are joining us, give me a hands up if that makes sense. And then let me know in the chat too, who's been feeling it lately? Even now in November, who's been feeling a little bit run down? You have had, the cycle of sickness maybe go through your house a little bit, brain fog rolling in. That's been me. I've got a little bit of a cold. That's been me, just a bit of a brain fog. You're seeking, comfort, maybe grazing a little bit more through the day, or you just want to snuggle in a warm blanket and watch your Hallmark movies, or you just feel dull in general. And then it's hard if you're working out to go for your walks and do your workouts and feel strong and active in those things as well. It feels tough, right? So you're not alone. You're not alone. Let me know in the chat. I see all the thumbs up. Yes, brain fog for sure. You're not alone. And our bodies are totally different in the winter months than the summer months. Okay. And I think we feel that, right? In the summer, even though we're just as busy and just as go, 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 we have a sense of lightness and get up and go and clear-headedness and more upbeat maybe in the summer. Okay. And I know for all my friends in the southern climates, you guys are still feeling it too, even though you're not getting 10 inches of snow and cold, blustery nights. You still feel that shift in temperature and the shift in seasons as well. So the winter months are also notorious for bringing on the weight gain. Okay. And remember, weight is water, fat is inches. Okay. Another takeaway for most. But most of us acknowledge that we have the tendency to drink and eat more and a lot of foods outside of our normal realm of eating in the holiday season and in the fall winter months. But is that the only factor? Is a change of eating? Or are there other factors in play? Are we genetically programmed just to fluffen up, right? Over the winter months? Or does your metabolism actually slow down over the winter months, like bears and other mammals that hibernate, right? And I'll say this, although our metabolism doesn't necessarily slow down during the winter months, but if your endocrine system is not functioning properly, this is your hormonal system is not functioning properly, it can slow down to conserve energy, and your core body temperature may drop. But technically, and this is where we get into hypo and hyperthyroidism, right? But technically your metabolism doesn't slow down in the winter naturally. And for most of us, it speeds up because it is trying to keep us warm. Okay. Especially if we're in the cooler climates. But just like the trees and the hibernators out there, we're not the only ones to go through some serious changes. okay, in the winter time, in the fall winter. You do too. And hormones can surge and drop within minutes of each other, because we have to remember hormones are messengers, right? And they're part of our day-to-day functions of sleep, digestion, reactions to stress. Okay. And general hormones raise and fall across the year as well. It's not just minute to minute, it's across the year as well. And there's a study that was just recently done that I found, that actually studied over 4 million blood tests. And it was from the Weizmann Institute of Science in Israel. And they found that the hormone producing glands, okay, are factors or organs that actually produce and metabolize the hormones, shrink and expand depending on the seasons, just to try to self-regulate around sort of the annual cycles. So that aside, we already know the natural evolution of what we feel in regards to our hormonal state and where we are, whether you are perimenopausal or menopausal, or you just feel off kilter a little bit now that you're in your 40s plus, right? Or even postmenopausal, maybe you just feel just not connected with yourself. Things are different. Things have changed. That's just a natural evolution of our hormonal state. Okay, so we have the seasonal thing happening, plus we just have a natural evolution happening. We're like, thanks, Mother Nature. Double whammy for us, right? But if we don't take a hormone-centric approach, okay, because a lot of us right away, when we're feeling these shifts, brain fog, poor energy, expanding waistline, and we're feeling, even though we're eating healthy majority of the time and we're working out, right away we look to a caloric centric approach. What am I eating? I need to reduce my carbs, right? Who said that? I need to work out more. I need to work out harder. Okay. I want you to shift that caloric centric approach to a more hormone eccentric approach. And it's what we go through in our Reignite Your Fat Burning Hormones challenge, is switching to work with your hormonal hierarchy and work with the chemo hormones that matter, so that you can naturally give yourself your hormones, allow yourself and your hormones to work together in synchrony. That's what I was trying to say, right? So there's no start fresh January, right? So let's dive in. So the 5 surprising things that happen to your hormones in the fall, winter, and more importantly, what we're going to do about it. So I'm going to give you the 5 things, the shifts that happen, and then get your notebooks ready, because then you can take in some action notes in regards to what we do. Because I know a lot of you guys are like, just tell me what to do, Moni, but it's very important that you know the why behind the how of what we're doing. Okay. Sounds good. Give me a thumbs up in the chat. Okay. Number 1, which is the big one, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, but your daylight, hours of daylight and nighttime has shifted. And with that, your natural serotonin levels have dropped. So serotonin is one of your feel-good hormones. Serotonin is what you get from joy, okay? And just feel good, okay? It's different from dopamine. It's different from the other feel-good hormones, but serotonin is very, very, very powerful, and it's associated with good moods. It regulates your appetite and your sleep cycles. And low levels of serotonin, we already know, are clinically proven to be paralleled with depression, and obviously SAD. That happens to many women more than men. Okay, and I'll explain why here in a second. During the fall, winter months, your seasonal affective disorder. Okay, and the action and production of serotonin is actually really related closely to a secondary hormone of estrogen called estradiol. Okay, and estradiol, which is, we call it the E2 in the nutrition world, is usually really heightened and at its peak during reproductive years. Okay, but guess what? Most of us here are not in, even though I had Mila at 42, we're not in our reproductive years. So studies have shown that the levels of estradiol naturally fall in the fall, winter time. Plus your estrogen is naturally, obviously, decreasing as we age. Nothing we can do about it, just natural passes of life. And that gives into that's the feeling of the blues, okay, and some moodiness. And With that comes an increase of carb cravings and your brain's drive for glucose, carbohydrates. Okay. It's not that you're not strong enough. It's not that you don't have the willpower. It's that literally your brain's most preferred source of energy, and that it knows it's the simplest form of energy is carbohydrates, glucose. Okay. So then that's when we get the snackiness and just trying to feel comfort from that. Serotonin. Serotonin is also, and please write this down, is a natural cortisol blocker. Cortisol, we're going to be talking about here in a second. It's a fat storing hormone. It's one of the big key hormones that we speak about in our challenge, and it's the base of your hormonal hierarchy. There's no managing cortisol. Okay. We have to learn to accommodate it in our 40s and 50s, because this is a beautiful, chaotic time in our life. And when serotonin's high, cortisol is low. Okay. So serotonin, that natural daylight shift that we feel with good mood, is limited. And I think we know that, right? We can feel it. Like, I know when I wake up in the summer and it's a beautiful, sunny, warm day, and I'm like, yes. But you wake up and it's cloudy and gloomy and gray out, and it's dark at 4 o'clock. You're just like, right? We feel it. You guys agree? Let me know if you agree. Yes, yes, yes. Perfect. Okay. Melatonin is our second shift that we feel happen. Okay. So melatonin is a hormone that is responsible for regulating your sleep-wake cycle. It's known in your circadian rhythm, and it helps initiate and maintain. That's the word I'm looking for. Maintain sleep. A lot of people think, oh, melatonin helps you fall asleep. It helps you fall asleep, but also helps you stay asleep. Okay. And during autumn and winter months, levels of your melatonin are higher compared to spring and summer months. Okay. Because melatonin production, where it's actually metabolized, is in your gut. This is why gut health is so important. A lot of hormones are metabolized in your gut, but levels of melatonin respond to light levels. Okay. So levels are high during the night and low during the day. So when it's light outside, naturally your body ceases production of melatonin. When it's dark outside, the natural circadian rhythm and algorithm of your body is to produce more melatonin to help get you prepared for sleep. And obviously in the winter, there's fewer light hours out there, and our levels of melatonin are elevated. So this is where we get the drowsiness. Okay, who's feeling drowsy all of a sudden? Want to take that mid-afternoon nap, right? Yeah. See all the hands raising. Yeah. It's in low body temperature too is another symptom of the melatonin. But that's the reason why you just feel just like, oh, bogged down, energy low. So we need to work around that. We need to recognize it. We can't make the days longer, even though we'd love to. I think as of, the first day of winter, they start getting longer by 30 seconds a day or something like that. My dad once told me, but we need to work around that. Okay. The next is the third one in R5 is we talk about things depleting here in serotonin and melatonin, but our TSH, which is our thyroid stimulating hormone, actually increases in the winter time. Okay. It's secreted from our pituitary gland, and colder weather causes this sort of knock on the door and message to please start secreting more thyroid stimulating hormone. Okay. Your thyroid hormones directly relate to the rate of your metabolism. Okay. Which makes sense, because this is an attempt for your thyroid to increase body temperature because it's just cold outside. Okay. Even if you're in the southern climates, you're still feeling a decrease in temperature. Like Arizona, you're from like 110 to what, I don't know, 70s, mid 70s, maybe. Okay. That's still a 30-degree difference. And some of some northern climates, we have the same. We're going from 80s. Okay. Sometimes obviously down to 80s, we're going to 30 degrees Celsius to 0. So you have that gap in there. So your body naturally wants to try to increase thermal energy and keep warm. And to do that, it's pumping out that TSH. Symptoms of heightened or raised TSH is low mood, fatigue, weight gain, intolerance to cold, memory problems, brain fog, right? That's when we know, okay, that our TSH is like on overdrive. Okay. 4, you guys are just like, yeah, oh, Tucson, it's 50 today in Tucson. Oh, so huge. Like you go from 110 to 50. I was totally thinking of you, Karen, when I mentioned Tucson. I have a bunch of clients in Arizona and Southern Cal right now. So you guys are feeling that shift just as much as we do. The 4th area that we see with our hormones during the fall winter is insulin. Insulin is one of our big fat storing hormones. It's a key hormone we look at in your hormonal hierarchy that needs to be primed, okay, to get your hormones to work for you, not against you. Energy, belly fluff, okay, strengthen your workouts, all those things. Insulin and cortisol, but insulin is your king. In the wintertime, we become more insulin resistant. Okay, it occurs around late summer, early fall. Your brain is literally telling your body to increase insulin resistance. It's a protection mechanism. When insulin can't come in and do its job and regulate blood sugar, it's not triggering your cells to open up and utilize that energy. We store it instead. Okay, so it's triggering your body to store energy for later, protection. Fluff and fat's protection. Okay, it's energy source and it's protection. And as a result, again, your liver can increase fat production, and it's triggered into your brown and white fat cells. Okay, it's just a natural thing that's happening. So insulin resistance, and we feel it. Who has increased carb cravings, afternoon yawns, poor digestion and bloating? Okay, insulin sensitivity. Okay, insulin resistance, sorry. And then when it gets warmer, we start increasing our insulin sensitivity and things start coming back. So what can we do around that? I'll tell you in a sec. Okay, the last I mentioned a bit earlier is your cortisol. Okay, besides it being a gong show of a time, okay, we've already had our Thanksgiving up here in Canada, but American friends, yours, and the craziness of Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And then all of a sudden now we're getting into Christmas season and parties. And I know that the COVID word is hopefully behind us, but a lot of people have been super careful. But maybe this Christmas, our Christmas was canceled last year. What am I even talking about? It was canceled last year because we had COVID. So this is a Christmas where like more get-togethers and everything may be happening. And it's just the natural stress of the holiday season, because who's doing most of it? Right? They say to delegate, but I'm a control freak. I like to do it myself. There's no managing stress. Again, if we lived in this beautiful bubble where all the stressors that come around us can just bounce off, it would be amazing. But that's just not the world we're living in right now. So we have to learn to train our body and mind to accommodate stress so we don't have the negative output physiologically and mentally from it, rather than manage it. You heard me speak before. I should have introduced myself in the beginning of this video because I know some of you are really new. You can go to my website and research me later, but you hear me say that we need a shot of tequila before we need another thing to manage in our lives. So there's no managing stress, but the reality of our bodies being in this sort of hyper fight or flight is real. And when cortisol is high, thyroid function is low. Metabolism does slow down. When cortisol is high, melatonin production is low. When cortisol is high, serotonin is also low. It's really hard to be super, super crazy stressed out and smiling and joyful at the same time. Okay. It's not impossible, but it's tough. So we just have to, and it's one of our key fat storing hormones. We need to work with it during these months, because again, it does not matter how clean you eat, how hard you work out. Okay. That's caloric centric. This is hormone centric approach that we're looking at. Right? Everyone go, oh, big sigh, relief, breathe. Okay. So now it's like, what do we do? What do we do about it? So please get your notebook ready, because I'm going to give you, I gave you the why, the 5 things, right, that happen to our hormones in the fall, winter. Now we're going to talk about how we can align them. Okay. So that the winter doesn't feel like such a struggle. Number 1, I recommend, guys, are you guys still with me? Give me a raise your hand or give me a thumbs up in the chat. Okay, makes sense? Beautiful. I see you guys all raising your hand. Perfect. Number one is spend time outside. This is a non-negotiable for my clients. It is, I don't care. I've had clients in the Yukon where it's -30 and they literally get 2 hours, if that, of daylight in the winter, and they're still finding a way to either get outside or replicate outside inside. Okay, which I'll talk about here in a second. But spending time outside, because as we've seen, light not only encourages the production of sex hormones, but it also increases your serotonin levels. Okay, it also helps your melatonin regulate. So getting outside for 20-30 minutes in the sunlight, doesn't matter if it's gray outside, it's still sunlight there, preferably in the morning if you can. Okay, in the morning. I also recommend, I know many of us do wake up and it's still dark outside, but as soon as it becomes light, to have that natural light hit you is huge. Okay, it's big, because that, again, what did I say earlier? Melatonin production is based on light exposure. When we are exposed to that light, right away, your circadian rhythm regulates. Okay, so spending time outside naturally boosts your immune system, and again, is a sleep aid, because it helps regulate your sleep wake cycle. Okay, so get outside, please. If you can't get outside, I recommend, I'm trying to think of the word, that's why I'm stuttering a little bit. Indoor light therapy. That's what I was thinking of. Indoor light therapy. So you can get them at Costco. There are those lights. I have mine here somewhere. Those lights, you plug it in, you put it, literally, it looks like the old makeup mirrors, right? You plug it in, it just shines light on you for about 15 minutes or so, 20 minutes. And again, that light is triggering your sleep wake cycle. Light bulbs and switching on the lights in your house is not the same thing. It's a certain wavelength of light that's coming from this little light wave therapy. Okay. With that too, with serotonin, remember I said when serotonin's high, cortisol is technically quite low, because with this being such a stressful time and a time where you have competing responsibilities and commitments, right? The stress can really further disrupt your hormones levels, and like your progesterone lowers even more, puts you in estrogen dominance. All this cycle of stuff can happen. So just getting outside and taking that 10, 20, 30 minutes for you to breathe, walk if you can, okay, works wonders. Wonders. I cannot encourage it enough. Okay, I cannot encourage it enough. Get outside. Okay. The next thing when it comes to getting outside and that natural daylight is obviously supplementation, which I said that I would touch on a bit here. Again, I am not a doctor. With supplementation, it doesn't negate a bad diet. It's your nutritional insurance, but I encourage everybody to get their levels checked before they start supplementing, because vitamin D is different for everybody and you don't want to have it in excess. But if you've had your vitamin D checked by your GP or your naturopath, and it 100% is something that we should be supplementing with and or increasing over the winter months. Okay, just to put it in perspective, my kids get about 1,000 to 2,000 IUs of vitamin D during the winter. My husband and I even more. We're about 5,000. Okay, vitamin D3, please. It's the most absorbable, and it keeps vitamin D in our system, fat soluble vitamin, for longer. Okay, so supplementing with vitamin D, I do encourage. But again, vitamin D is not something that your body produces on its own. We get it from, we synthesize it through UV rays and sunlight. Okay, it helps with calcium absorption. We need to have it. It helps with muscle repair. Need to have it in the winter months. Okay, but definitely 100% check with your doctor first, please. The second area is sleep. Okay, specifically this time of year, and you're like, don't have to talk to me twice, Moni. I want to take a nap all the time. But it is often hard to get enough due to stress and increased obligations of the season. Weekends are being booked. Whose weekends are booked up already in December with get-togethers. And what I say is this: please try to aim for consistent night routine and bedtime as much as feasibly possible. As I say to my clients, when we delay that, we are basically throwing ourselves into jet lag starting Monday. Okay, so within reason, to try to keep your bedtime routine, honor that sleep wake cycle. Okay, that will greatly impact your tiredness during the day. Okay, as much as you can, go to bed and raise around the same time. I know that vitamin D helps with pain and inflammation. Is this true? Yes. Yes, vitamin D does. Okay, it helps with oxidative repair. Okay, vitamin D. Um, the next one is around food, because this is the part where like, okay, how do I eat? What do I do to help myself not feel so sluggish and bogged down? Okay, and I know a lot of us naturally, like I mentioned early, crave the carbohydrates and sugary foods. And these foods are available to us in a lot more ways during the winter months, okay, with parties and get-togethers and cooking yourself and having people over and entertaining and all the things. Okay, it's around us. And it's not life to say don't have it, because food is not just fuel, food's information, but food is also culture and experience and celebration. Okay, so again, when we talk in our challenge and we talk with clients, we teach them strategies around how we use business as usual. As you know, Karen's a former client of mine. We use these strategies to help us during these times so we can still have the rum eggnog or what rum cake and like all the Christmas cookies and all those things, and still honor our health and where we are in our waistline. Okay, so but we also know that when we have those increased different carbohydrates and foods and sugary foods, it really makes us feel more fatigued after that initial energy boost and sugar rush from them wears off, right? And we already know what a healthy, balanced diet is. If you don't join us for our challenge coming up, because we're going to be talking about that, what to eat, what not to eat based on your hormonal hierarchy on one of the days. But we want to make sure there's no excuse not to eat fresh produce and seasonal goods. Okay, I know according to Chinese traditional medicine, around this time of year, we really want to focus on warming, soothing, comfort foods. This is your soups, your stews, okay, things that maybe have more starchy veg in there, your complex carbs in there, things that comfort us, okay, healthy carbs, if you will. Okay, we need carbohydrates. We need them in our 40s. And it's not an excuse not to have fresh produce, fresh fruits and veggies, nuts, eggs. Make sure you're getting a lot of stuff with omega-3s in there, because that helps with mood and your feedback, biofeedback, okay, which is your oily fish, flax seeds, spinach, okay, that all helps with energy levels. So don't forget to make sure that you're including those in your diets, but just think colors of the rainbow, all right, and really soothing foods this time of year. And just be very conscious of those sugary, low nutritional density foods. Don't say no to yourself, because willpower is fleeting. Okay, don't say no, 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 no. Say, okay, I'm going to have 3 Christmas cookies and then enjoy them and then be done with it. Okay, be done with it. This also goes when we're talking about your thyroid. Remember, your thyroid, naturally to keep you warm and to increase that thermal energy, is pumping out its stimulating hormone. And we want thyroid boosting nutrients to help support its health and effectiveness. So try to include these in the winter time. Okay, I'll say them slowly so you guys can write them down. Apples, Brazil nuts. Okay, not a handful, just 1 or 2 Brazil nuts is plenty. Chicken, yogurt, salmon, olive oil, eggs, garlic, dark chocolate, the cacao and dark chocolate is great, and avocado. Okay, so a lot of healthy, good fats in there, helping our thyroid stimulating hormone. Okay, so again, it's not about eating clean all the time and about muscling through the meal plan and saying to your Aunt Betty that has her Christmas cake, saying, nope, I can't have it because you're on a diet. That's not life. That's not living. Okay. And I know the words have in moderation. I don't like that because everyone's value of what moderation is different. But it is about just being conscious of it, have it. And listen, if you're working with your insulin and cortisol, a lot of times you're just not going to feel like it. And that's where we want to get to the point. The days where you're like, yeah, I want the sugar cookie. And the other days you're like, I just don't feel like it today. Okay, that's decreased cravings, that physiological urge for the food. Okay. Fourth thing I will say and recommend is be a snow bunny. Get outside in the cold weather. I know it feels like it's a deterrent to be outdoor and exercise, but again, the exercise is not only a bonus because it's again, exercise is not about burning calories and losing weight. And I know a lot of us in the wintertime are like, I need to exercise, or you just don't exercise and you're gonna be like, I'm going to start exercising in January. That's why gym memberships skyrocket. You're going to get in shape, burn the fat, burn the calories. That's not what exercise is and workout should be when you're in your 40s and 50s. That's a subset, right? That's the result of having functional fitness, system health, helping with your stress levels. That's what movement and exercise should be in the focus. Okay. So for that reason, we want functional fitness, we want circulation, we want to work with key hormone levels like dopamine and serotonin that naturally, adrenaline that naturally rise when we're moving our bodies. Okay. So that's where we want to make sure that thumbs up, make sure that we are incorporating exercise during the winter months. Okay. Winter months. And if you're outdoors, the bonus is sunshine. You're getting that sunshine, which is key. All right. So keeping it simple, guys, I want you to go through those points, the four so that I just mentioned to you, and pick, okay, which is sustainable, which is doable in my life, and what structure am I going to do to help support it? Okay. Those of you that are clients that are just here for a refresh, you know that word structure that I say over and over again, because it's really easy to say, okay, I'm going to get outside for 20 minutes a day, but what are you going to do to support that? I'm going to make my kids clean up the kitchen and put away the dishes while I go outside for a 20-minute walk after dinner. I'm going to get up earlier and just open the blinds or sit in front of my light therapy. I'm going, okay, like what structure can we do, and book it into your calendar. That's how we get things happening. Okay. First have the belief that you want to do it. Then we have the behavior. Then we get the habit and routine from it. Okay, so the last thing that I will share with you is what we have coming up next week. And it is our Reignite Your Fat Burning Hormones Challenge. This is the fall winter edition, meaning that it is a 5-day challenge tailored specifically to priming your fat burning hormones so they fire effectively during the winter months that do feel like a struggle for many. Okay, we're feeling run down, we're getting sick, we're feeling pulled in a million directions, we don't feel present and have joy in the moments, we're just blah. Okay, and when your fat and metabolic hormones are not primed and wonky and not working together, then metabolism starts to shut down. Doesn't matter how clean you eat and how hard you work out. Okay, so we're going to be talking every day live. I'll be coaching you on the why and the how, things like what to eat, what not to eat. How do we optimize your already healthy diet, optimize what you're doing during the fall, winter months. We're going to be talking about stress accommodation versus stress management, what to do. We're going to be talking about workouts, okay, and how to have a hormone-centric approach over the fall, winter months to make sure that we're not throwing key hormones out of whack there. So it's 5 days, it's recorded. It does not mean that you're muscling through a strict plan or counting calories, food calculus, or reading a 100-page guide, or that you're 1 out of 1,000 that's just not getting your questions answered. It's not about that. Okay, it's about a personalized approach for simple things that you can do every day to help prime your hormones and get you set for November, December, January, February for the rest of the fall, winter. Okay, we're not offering it again this year. We do it about 4 times a year. And again, everything's recorded. And right now we're doing it for $47. Okay, it's a great way to work with me and get a personalized approach for under $100. Okay, so I'm going to put that out to you guys that are watching this now or watching the recording. We only take a certain amount. Again, I like the personalized approach as we go through the challenge, so we keep our numbers on the low side. So if you want your spot, jump in and join us. Okay, and we go from Tuesday to Saturday. If you miss a day here and there, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to throw you off. Okay, I just ask to make sure you come back, watch the videos. Okay, and I try to keep them short and sweet. Try about 30-40 minutes. Okay, and you get the replays and the summary at the end. And that's a great way to get more support and action around what we just talked about today, aligning your hormones for the fall winter. Because the worst thing that we can do is not enjoy the season, get bogged down, tell ourselves the failing excuse of I'll start fresh in January, because it gives us immediate comfort when we know that when January comes, we've just thrown ourselves into another resolution ringer. Okay, resolution ringer. I love that. But let me know, give me a thumbs up if you guys found value in that. Okay, and look out for an email from me. It'll be coming out in regards to the challenge. You can check that out there. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. Let me know. Oh, maybe I'll stay on here for a quick second. Let me know if there's any questions you can post in the chat, guys. I notice carbs and sugar make me feel really crappy and they cause flare-ups. Yes, 100%. If you have any neuromuscular or carry your fibromyalgia, I believe, right? 100% it can contribute to that. Okay, I'm trying scrolling here, see if there's any questions. Lots of thumbs up. Great as always. Thank you. Great as always. Always great info. Thank you. Amazing. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys go then. Any questions, you can just DM me, okay, or send me an email is actually better, moni@monicatupham.com. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me. And look out for the email for our challenge coming up. I'd love for you to join us and take this conversation even further. Talk to you guys later. Bye.